Welcome to Kim with Kim. I'm Kim, and today we're going to talk about 9/11 as a federal holiday, which it is not. So, here's my thing. And first and foremost, rest in peace to, everyone who lost their lives in 9/11, after 9/11. Like, that is a real tragedy, and to see that and be alive during that, and be here seeing the long-term effects, and honestly heartbreaking. So I don't want to undermine that whatsoever, and honestly my heart goes out to the people who every year and every day have to deal with that loss of someone close to them, which is also why it brings up to me that why isn't it a federal holiday, because it is such a tragedy in American history. And for some reason, people still have to go to work on 9/11. Banks still have to open. People have to like roll themselves out of bed. And they call it Patriot Day, but there is a Patriots Day, which I get it. I get it. But at the same time, I don't, because, Patriots Day is in April. So there's a day for that. And, that's also not a federal holiday. But my point is, or my thought was, looking into why it's not a federal holiday. So in 2021, they tried to vote on passing legislation to make 9/11 a federal holiday, and it didn't get enough support in Congress. All right. So pretty much there are 11 federal holidays, right? New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of those. The latest one that was added to the calendar was Juneteenth, which is June 19th. If you want to know more about June 19th being a federal holiday, I did make a video of that, so check my previous videos for that. But I was just really torn. So they're going to bring it up again to make 9/11 a federal holiday, which 100% I think it should be. I don't think that as much as we make 9/11 a day of remembrance, which it should be, we honor those that were lost. There's a memorial in New York now on what used to be the Twin Towers and was Ground Zero. I've seen it, and you just feel like it's like a giant square with a miniature square in it that's a waterfall, and the whole thing is black, and the names are printed on it, and like you can feel the engraving of it. Being there, like I went to New York and saw Ground Zero, like when it was Ground Zero, and that was just so sad. My god brother at the time lived right there, so like from his window I could have thrown a baseball and we could look down, and it was just very, like, to look at it when it was dirt was something, like something that you feel in your heart, honestly. And then to go now and see it and have seen the memorial now, you still feel sad. At least I did. Like, to hear the water rushing, and like in my mind when I was there, like the poetic side of me was just like, I feel like they, it's black, it's raining water, like those are all the tears cried, and it's like endless, because no one's gonna stop crying for those people. So like that's just how it made me feel. But sorry, my hair got caught on my piercing. They're gonna heal. But pretty much my thing is, the first federal holidays were established in 1870, right? That was the New Year's, Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July. And since then it took a really long time until we got Juneteenth. And there are pretty much, one of the reasons in 2021 when they had the vote for it was, oh, well, we don't think there should be 2 federal holidays in a month because that's very expensive for the country. You have New Year's and Martin Luther King Day in January, and you have Veterans Day and Thanksgiving that are in the same month. So what are you talking about? Like, I'm sorry. Like, if there's any time or anything that should be passed that I think the country needs, in sense of like having a morale, people should not be going to work on 9/11. People should not be going, like, America doesn't really suffer terrorist attacks. And that's very fortunate because other countries do. But when you have something that didn't, it was an attempt, it was a success, not a success, I'm sorry. It was a thought out plan that did hit the Twin Towers and take them down. The Pentagon got hit, and then, it was also an attempt at the White House. So you literally had this giant operation boiling down, and it really showed, America's weaknesses and the level of like turmoil that can occur on the soil here. And then you have things like you have things like, okay, Patriots Day, and then calling 9/11 Patriot Day. It's 9/11, and it's a day that people don't need to be at work. People need to be at home and be, you have all these ceremonies, you have all these things to remember people. And like I said, those families forever lost somebody. So I just don't, it just doesn't sit right with me that it's not a federal holiday. And I hope that this time around it does pass, because almost every month has a federal holiday except for August, my birthday. So that's already a holiday, if we're being honest. But, there's that. Before Juneteenth was passed, June didn't have a federal holiday. Who else doesn't have a federal holiday? I think it's March and April don't have federal holidays. Right. So there are months that don't have federal holidays. And Labor Day is already in September, so that was the vote as to why it shouldn't pass, or one of the reasons. But outside of that, like I said, other months have 2 federal holidays in it. And for the sake of the country and for the sake of really remembering those people, it should definitely be one. Because you can't say that it's Patriots Day and you're not, and like for the sake of Congress, you're not willing to be a real patriot. You're not willing to take the time, and it's not a loss of money. America's you can't say like, oh, it costs too much money to create a new federal holiday. We just did one. We just did Juneteenth not too long ago. And if you really want to show your true colors and show where your heart is and like do it for your country, like 9/11 needs to be a federal holiday. That was just my thoughts. And like I said, like whenever I think of 9/11 and when 9/11 comes around, like it's just such a bitter, somber day, because to think of that, to see that, and to see that image, those videos multiple times, all these years have gone by. You have the first responders, the people who were just happened to be in the city that day, the people who escaped. Like, you hear so many stories, and now all these years later, like all the things that they're going through emotionally, physically, health-wise, like these are all things that more and more you see the level to which respect is deserved, and I think federal holidays are family time and, days to sit here and be grateful and sit here and enjoy the day. And even if it's a sad day, like you can do with that what you need, like what you mentally, physically, emotionally need. So I really do hope that this time around 9/11 can become a federal holiday. And I don't think those families will ever heal, but I do think that's a step in the right direction to make them feel better and to, show care. But you know what? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was the product that I used for my hair. Thank you, Carlos's daughter. But, it was wash day and that was just on my mind. But I've kind of like been in and out about creating a video on that, just because it's something that's, really hard to talk about, I think, when it comes to 9/11. But I do hope you guys are doing great. Remember, everything you do it for you. All right. Bye.